til Norge, or welcome to Norway, as the Disc Golf Pro Tour crosses the Atlantic and we head over to the PCS Open at the Øverås Diskgolfpark in Vestnes, Norway. Absolutely spectacular scenery on hand for us today. The fjords, the mountains, the animals. A little bit of everything on this Thursday morning. Thank you so much for being with us. Innova presenting the PCS Open today. As we take a look at Arcana current conditions, very pleasant out there right now. No rain yet, maybe some in the forecast, but perfect disc golf weather right now, just under 60 degrees, no wind to speak of. As we welcome you inside the broadcast booth here at the PCS studios in Helsinki, Finland. Hi, everybody. I'm Charlie Eisenhood alongside Zoe Andyke. And Zoe, look, the European swing, such a special part of the tour. Some players have already been over here, many others making the trip this past couple of days. And now we get the first Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite Series ever in Europe.
These are such exciting times. 2023 is really like putting its mark in disc golf history. So many Europeans coming over to the United States and so many more new U.S. citizens coming over to play over here. I see the world really just coming alive in disc golf. We've got the Paul Macbeth Foundation building courses in all these other places. We've got disc golf becoming live with championship level courses in so many different spots. But right here this weekend, the most remote and beautiful location that is building upon championship level disc golf.
Speaking of champions, Kristen Tatar, probably the most famous player in Europe right now. This will actually, surprisingly, be her first Elite Series or major start in Europe since she first won on tour in 2019, winning the U.S. Women's Championship. She missed some of the big tournaments last year, European Open, with an injury. Let's take a look back at some of the history that Tatar has put together since she really came onto the scene. And if you can believe it, Zoe, it's only been since 2015 that she first played in a disc golf tournament.
And that is incredible. Less than 10 years ago, Kristen joins our world-class sport and starts competing in FPO division. And you see right here, 2016, 8 C-tier wins and a reasonable amount of money at the time in 2016, $1,000 in her total career earnings. Go up to 2017 and she comes over to the United States. It's her first major start and she does well. 7th place at the USW DGC. And at that time, Kristen knew that she wanted to pursue disc golf. 2018 comes around and it's her first A-tier win, $7,000 that year, but 2019 is really where things start on fire. It's her first major win at the US Women's, and then COVID happens. She still played locally. 5 out of 7 tournaments she wins, but 2020 was kind of a slow year for all of us.
Lost season for the European players in particular who couldn't come across to the U.S. for tournaments. She comes back in 21 to go to Worlds, does well, finishes 5th, but I don't think at that point we really even yet saw Kristen Tatar as the clear #1 player in Europe. That was put to bed in 2022 when she began to just absolutely dominate, winning the Worlds, winning the Pro Tour Championship. She gets over $100,000 in prize earnings and, has just leveled up her game consistency-wise, putting, driving, you name it. And now here she is at 23 as the undisputed #1 in the world.
That's right. And look at that, 100K in one season from 2022. Things really taking off for Kristen Tatar.
Brilliant stuff. But unfortunately, one of the big competitors that we expected to challenge Tatar this week, Paige Pierce, who, of course, won last year's European Open. We're waiting for that major next week. She is not going to be in the field this weekend. Unfortunately, Paige posting on Instagram that she has suffered a fractured ankle, and it's clearly going to cause her to miss these next couple of tournaments. She's going to be out for probably at least 6 weeks. You see down at the bottom of that post, Zoe, metal plates and screws, probably going to have to get surgery, and that could extend the timeline.
Yeah, we're not just talking about your regular fracture on this ankle break. There's 3 different points of fracture or break in the ankle, and there is going to be surgery implemented in hardware. Paige has got a really positive attitude. check out her Instagram post and send her some love on the weekend.
Yeah, everybody thinking about Paige Pierce. Obviously, terribly disappointing for her as she was very excited to play this weekend. So we get a look at Luca Lorenzen getting ready to go out here on the course. FPO 2 getting ready to roll. Katrina Allen stepping to the tee, just coming off a win on tour. Looking the best she's looked in months.
Katrina opts for the sidearm. This is a smart, safe play. We've seen
from
ladies in our
Rauma,
field
Finland,
earlier in the day struggle
team
on hole 1,
Innova,
so very smart golf play.
Henna Blomros.
Also very exciting to see Henna. This is the first time we've seen Henna Blomros since the Jonesboro Open earlier this year. She's been home. Her and Evelina both have been in Europe, and we're so happy to have them back in the Elite Series. Opting for the turnover. Oh, and a little trouble to be found there. I was kind of afraid she hadn't put a lot of analyzer angle on it, and the wind did not flip it. She's out of bounds.
Sponsored by Team Discraft, Missy Gann.
Missy Gannon in the all black today.
And this is her first appearance in Norway and over at the European events. And she puts a good angle on this. Although she got a little bit of a cut roll, she lands herself in the fairway safely.
And the last one from Tønsberg, Norway. Team Prodigy Disc, Lykke Lorentzen.
And she keeps it low, out of the little amount of wind that we have. Pushes it just a little too wide and doesn't get that fade back in bounds. So 2 competitors in the fairway and 2 competitors out of bounds.
Well, something that you got to keep an eye on out on the course this weekend. Can you find Sigurbjorn? Where is he going to be? If you find Sigurbjorn in one of our whole flyovers, head over to sigurbags.com. You have an opportunity to win that backpack right there, and he's gonna be hiding out there somewhere, and he might be here on hole 1, Zoe. But we're not gonna tell you when it's happening, so keep your eyes peeled. Let's take a look at the par 3 first.
Yep, this first hole is a par 3, just a little over 400 feet, 124 meters. OB surrounds the entire fairway. We're going to see a lot of OB stakes out here today. We've got a downhill sloping off to the right-hand dogleg right. As you can see, the basket is placed close to the OB. It's actually within the circle's edge range right there. Ladies really have to dial in their shots, understand that there's a little bit of decline in elevation, and understand what the wind is doing in order to place it safely in the fairway. Starting off with a par on hole 1 is good. Today we've seen a lot of bogeys in the field. And Katrina does not overcook that one. That was a great shot. I saw the huge basket in the background.
We all have to watch out for that.
I might have been looking for Sigbjorn in that basket, as you should all be too. And an upshot from Missy Gannon, placing her in circle 1.
So it's overcast as it's been all week, but we haven't really seen much rain during the practice round days, even though rain is basically in the forecast at all times. Very unpredictable weather at this time of year. It's the warmest month of the year in Norway, but it's also the rainiest. Lorentzen said in the press conference that her game felt the best that it's felt in the last couple weeks in the U.S., but that is another misfire.
And looked a little timid, a little nervous. A couple of nerves this morning here, potentially for Luque. And Henna grabs her mark. This will be for her third shot to the basket. And nice and easy, shouldn't be any trouble to clean up her bogey. So although hole 1 doesn't really look that difficult, it provides enough of a challenge to get things started. We've seen half of the field take a penalty stroke on this first hole. Very important to just stick it in the fairway and give yourself a clean start. And the card will help Luque find the right placement to take her second out of bounds placement.
And this will be a putt for double bogey for Lorentzen.
Solid putt. After a difficult start, Lorentzen is in for her 5.
Gannon with a par putt to get things started on 1. No birdies yet today. Keep in mind, though, this is a very small field relative to many of the Elite Series events on tour.
And Missy Gannon leaves it just a little bit low. She lands safely underneath the basket and will card her bogey.
Just a touch of rain beginning to fall at the course they call Ragnarok. We're going to see plenty of Viking theme today. Katrina for her par.
Solid start for Katrina Allen with a par.
Blomroos takes the bogey after going out of bounds off the tee shot. So we're off and underway here in round number 1. The leaders at 1 under. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Innova Team Captain Nate Sexton. Welcome to our instructional disc golf series. Maybe even bank over to the right, and that's going to give the putt loft. Slight flex line, so you'll see this come out a little bit higher to give you a variety of different shot shapes. The farthest away player should go first towards the basket.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Ever since I won Worlds, I had my goals set on another major win. There's no past and there's no future. It's only this moment here.
It's just beautiful to watch Kristen throw the disc. Outright brilliance from Kristen.
The winner of the 2023 PDJ Champions Cup, Kristen Tatar. Katrina Allen. Maria Oliva.
She's done it. Kristen Tatar.
Champion Oakland and Austin.
Join the Paul Macbeth Foundation's Builders Club to help bring sustainable disc golf experiences to people and communities around the world. For a small monthly donation, you can help us make a real impact. Your donation will go directly to making a difference. By becoming a monthly subscriber, you'll also receive exclusive updates on our work, special offers, and discounts. So join us today and make a difference with the Paul Macbeth Foundation. Together we can make a big impact, one small donation at a time.
Just a moment ago, Katrina Allen teeing off on 2. Laser beam, hyzer flip into circle 1. Beautiful shot from Katrina.
Incredible. You know, Kat is coming out firing. She is feeling confident. She's very happy about her surroundings and for her first trip also to Norway.
It's 341-foot par 3. Part of 6 straight par 3s to begin the course.
And a perfect upshot for Luque. Got the little water feature inside of the circle here. Could potentially cause a little bit of danger. So even though it's a short par 3 or one of the more easier holes to get you into the course, there's still danger just next to the green. And you brought it up. We've got 6 par 3s to start things off. The front 9 is really about maintaining and keeping your score clean, potentially grabbing those bonus birdies, but then we get into the back 9 with much more scoring opportunities, and the course has teeth with 3 par 5s.
Let's go to the 5th. Evelina.
And throwing an understable disc, flipping it up and hitting the koozie. That is exactly what you want unless you find yourself in the basket. Tap in birdie.
Take another look on the Zuka replay. And you can see there are holes like this that are very gettable for all the players in the field. That stone wall, a little bit of danger though. You can fall down to the OB there. The water short of the basket here on 2 is casual. Blomroos for birdie.
Oh, just a little off to the left. It splashes out. And we'll have to settle for par.
So a bit of a slow start for Blomroos. Allen even closer for her birdie look to get a share of the early lead.
Solid start for Kat.
Katrina having her best season as a putter in years. She's been phenomenal this season. We see her throwing it off the tee like she did the final stop over in the US on tour. She's got a great chance to win again here at the PCS Open. There's a look at the three-time defending champ here at the PCS Open, Anniken Sten, highest rated player in Europe. We'll see her teeing off next.
Introducing the Mojo Riser. With multiple attachment options, the riser can elevate almost any disc golf bag. Its innovative lightweight design helps reduce stress on your back and body, while also leaving ticks and dirt on the ground, so your bag and towel stay clean and dry. The riser performs on hills, even when you can't. Only do half the lifting and save energy during your rounds. Pre-order your Mojo Riser today at mojogear.com.
At Discraft, we don't wait to see what the future holds. We build it. The future is in your hands.
By investing in real estate, you're opening the door for generational wealth for you and your loved ones. Contact me, Matthew Bailey, to get started today.
Play smart. That means getting reliable results from reliable discs.
Keep it simple. Founded in 1995 as Innova's original molding partner, Millennium Golf Discs are designed for control and not overcomplicating your game.
Throw Millennium. Premium discs that help you compete at your best.
Play smart, keep it simple, throw Millennium.
My name is Ricky Wysocki. I founded the Saki Bomb Foundation as a nonprofit organization committed to growing the sport of disc golf with America's youth. The foundation's First Putt initiative puts 50 discs and one portable basket in the hands of PE teachers across the United States at no cost to the school. We've already sent First Putt packages to schools in all 50 states with the generous support from our sponsors. If you want to be a part of this movement, visit sakibombfoundation.org. Thank you for growing the sport of disc golf with us.
How is your putter release so powerful even as far out as 50 feet? A lot of the power on my putt is generated from like a little finger pop / wrist action at the very end. Hold a disc in your hand even when you're sitting down on a couch. You can kind of just pop it up. Try to like pop the disc vertical. Do this and just slowly practice getting it higher, and you're just really trying to use your wrist, not really your arm. That's how I do it, and that's a tip to how you can do it too.
Anniken Sten, the top-rated player in Norway, winning 3 straight times here at the PCS Open. Last year's field had some real challenge in it. And as usual, very sharp, closing it out on 18, up onto the tracker, Zoe.
The coolest finishing green in all of disc golf, I'm convinced. And then look at those trophies. I don't know if any of this event can be rivaled. The beautiful scenery, insane, amazing features on this course, and then the
Okay,
trophies
then we
are
are ready
top-notch.
for a feature card, PCS Open FPO 2023 from Tampere, Finland, and Team Innova. Please welcome to the tee, Evelina Salonen.
Great to have Evelina back. It's been almost 3 months since she played on tour. Saw her at the end of April.
A powerful backhand turnover. It's got a lot of angle, but she put enough right on it that it cut back into the center of the fairway.
From Pärnu, Estonia, Team Latitude 64. Please welcome to the tee, Kristen Tatar.
Undisputed #1 in the world, Kristen Tatar. Trying to keep it going in Europe.
Oh, and it looks like she kicked off of that tree,
From
deflecting her
Hamar,
disc to stay
Norway.
straight into the OB.
Sponsored by the PCS Group and VR Disc Golf. Anniken Steen.
So although she's the 3-time defending champ, the field has gotten a lot stronger here this year. Sten will have to step up the game.
Being left-handed, this first hole opens up beautifully for Anniken. She can go full steam, full attack mode, and that she does. She's just outside of
Last one
circle
from
2.
Grass Valley, California, and Team Innova. Please welcome to the team, Jessica Weiss.
Congratulations to Jessica Weiss and Garrett Gerthy, who just got engaged this week. I don't know if Weiss is going to be playing with her engagement ring on. We'll have to see if we can spot that later, Zoe.
That's right. And stays clear of the tree with a powerful sidearm. Wow, also getting up to just outside of circle 2.
So the long putts coming up. Looking for some birdies here on hole #1. See the giant basket. I think it's the largest to scale basket in the world.
And there are other properties that try to rival it, but I believe you're right, and that might be one of the biggest discs.
All right, we're going to send it down to the 3rd member of our broadcast team. Nate Perkins is with Anniken Steen.
Charlie, Zoe, it's a pleasure to be with you guys. And Anniken, thanks for doing this with me. And what kind of pressure are you feeling on the tee of hole 1, first Elite Series event in Norway?
Well, I gotta be honest and say that it's been a while since I've been this nervous. I try to keep it cool, but like, I'm shaking right now. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like, yeah.
And this hole actually sets up pretty well for the lefty. It was nice you were just able to go driver there. How'd you feel about that shot?
Like, I'm lucky to be a lefty here for sure. Yeah, it's making the start easier for me at least, and yeah, just take it from there.
And my last question, what is it like having your father on the bag today?
It's awesome. Like, it calms me a bit more down. It does. Yeah.
Thank you, Anniken, and good luck.
Thank you, Nate. And even if you're a 3-time champ, you get nervous on hole 1.
And that is just keeping it the realest you can. Nerves are going to happen, and it's how you handle them. Will you apply the pressure on yourself, or will you eat them for breakfast? Yeah.
Very disappointing there from Evelina. Maybe some nerves for Salonen as well.
I think so. You know, she's been off since Jonesboro. A little timid.
Over to 3, Allen. A long birdie look, comes up empty. Back to 1, Tatar. after going out of bounds.
And it looks like she gave that a real bid, and she lands safely next to the basket. She'll be carding her bogey. And these are the first 2 looks at a potential birdie putt that we've seen for the entire field. And just a little bit of a jump putt layup for Jessica Weiss there. And a soft bid might be a little bit more of a safe, smart play for our previous champion. Evelina with a little bit of work left to do here.
Yeah, an early tester for a player that rivals anyone off the tee, but has certainly struggled on the putting green. Get a look at how she's been practicing the last 3 months, perhaps.
And I've got to say, I like the way that that stroke looked. She had confidence, it looked clean, and she had a good miss. It was going in, high on the basket, lands safely. I want to say that hopefully Evelina has found some confidence. That stroke looked better than I remember.
Well, and something we're going to have to keep an eye on. I didn't see nearly as much hyzer as she normally puts on her putts. So we'll have to see if that's been maybe a bit of a change for her. Weiss in for the par. Easy par for Sten. That'll settle the nerves.
I really enjoyed Annika's interview during the press conference. She talked about, although being a 3-time champion here, she knows that the field is got better talent than it's ever had, and she's got to step up her game and play these holes a little bit better than she ever has.
Hedda Blomroos on the 4th.
Oh, wow. A line drive to the bullseye. And this hole, you know, the first 3 kind of get you ready for hole 4, that tight tunnel shot.
And here's Heidi Leine to get to 3 under par, take the solo lead, and she puts it in. So back-to-back birdies for Leine, and she's out in front early at the PCS Open.
And that was a downhill putt towards the OB. I'd say the confidence is strong right now. Yeah, 3 down to get things kicked off. Heidi came to play.
A couple other players on her par. Ratana Meekum sitting there at 1 under, tied with Katrina. Just under 20 players in the field this week for FPO.
And we mentioned it is a much smaller field than we're used to seeing at an Elite Series, but this is 3 times bigger than the field size has ever been here in Norway. It's very special to have this many competitors here. Ooh, Anniken putting a little bit extra turnover on that, and it will burn, but stays in bounds.
And if this fairway looks familiar, it's because we do indeed cross back over the hole 1 fairway.
It's not a typical design that you see, but because of the way this tournament is structured and the tee times flow, it works perfectly. And, you know, you got to get started somehow.
It's got to fight back. Oh, and it gets the wrong kick off the side hill. Oh, a beautiful kick for Salonen, and it trickles into about 7 feet. We'll call it 2 meters this week.
We'll be practicing going back and forth with our measurements. And a low line drive for Tatar. She is unhappy with it right out of her hands. As you can see, it's just very low off the ground. Most likely just an upshot.
couple early misfires off the tee for Tatar. To 4. Allen. And that clips the trees on the right side, does not find its way back into the fairway. That is out of bounds. There are teeth in these par 3s. We go to 6. Sarah Hokum putting for birdie.
Sarah finds herself at 2 down now and keeping it clean, 2 under par.
Well, it's time to take a look at our U-Disc course close-up.
So we have it ranked 17th on the world's best courses list. It's number 2 in Norway. 31% course growth rate for Norway, which is incredible. They're really adding to the disc golf scene. It's rated 4.8 on U-Disc. We've got a par 65 this weekend, and it's one of the shortest courses we're actually going to play, but it has so much challenging elevation gain, pockets to land in, and OB sprinkled everywhere. Hole 6, the gates of Valhalla with the triple Mando. And don't forget to watch out for Sigbjorn. He could be hiding there.
Sigbjorn, the scientist on the loose studying insects, hiding somewhere out there in a hole preview. So keep your eyes peeled. Sten.
Almost going in the birdie. Great landing for her just underneath the basket.
Tatar up shot inside the circle.
Good play.
Routine short up shots for these players. Back to 4. Here's Allen's 3rd shot. I saw her clip the tree and go out of bounds.
This has still got just as much difficulty, Charlie, because she didn't advance very far.
Another out of bounds stroke for Allen, just pulling it a little too far right both times. No correction there.
I actually heard Greg Barsby talk about hole 4 last year, how it can provide the birdie or multiple bogey strokes. You know, par is a little bit rare. We've seen a few today. Hole 4 is definitely the first most difficult course on the hole on the course. It's kind of one of the greatest shots in disc golf. You just got to see a low line drive.
Sten in for the par. She remains at even. And a beautiful birdie for Evelina Salonen to get back to even par. Jessica Weiss takes a bogey. So let's take a look at Andyke's analysis, brought to you by Black Ink Discs.
All right, well, the very first thing that's important is angle control, and we saw it on hole 1 where we had some burnouts and some peel outs. Angle control is huge because of how many sloped fairways and greens we have. Accuracy off of the tee is going to be the key to hitting your landing zones, and you've got to have them. You've got to have a good practice plan and know where you want to be on the course, know the speed of disc you want to throw, and get yourself there. There is natural OB and real OB sprinkled everywhere. If you're off the fairway here, chances are bogey is in your future.
Back to 4, Missy Gannon putting for a par.
Right height, but left off the mark.
So a couple circle 2 misses early here for Gannon.
And there we see silver lot back on the bag for Kristen. It's got to be a bonus and a bit of a treat being reunited with her significant other and in such a beautiful place. Kristen talks about how the distractions of the beauty and the scenics on this course are hard to stay focused through. hope all of you guys are soaking it in at home throughout the weekend.
Good shape on this throw from Salonen, and just clips the last rock. If that had missed it, it would have been perfect. Now a tricky downhill putt.
Another hole that shapes up really nicely for a left-handed player due to the slope going right to left. She released it just a tiny bit early, and she's going to have a very tricky downhill approach. Can't imagine she's running that one.
A very early release from Tatar. And that's the same mistake we saw on hole 1 with the forehand.
A little bit of trouble getting the forehand play going for Tatar. And Jessica Weiss puts this one up a bit higher than she would have liked. Got the flip up and an open view to the basket. Again, a very deathly approach.
So a couple long birdie looks coming up for the feature card today. Let's go to the hole 3 flyover. Sigurbjorn? Well, we'll see.
Don't forget to look out for that man. He's dressed in all yellow, but right now we've got another par 3, 110 meters. And you guys, we've got slopes from right to left all throughout this first portion of the course. We've got trees in the way, rocks that can deflect and push your discs behind and rollaways. But if you can stay clear, check out this green. It is very difficult. So the slope becomes more drastic at about these 2 trees, dropping off very, very drastically behind the basket, and OB surrounds everywhere. So you've got to have that angle control and that placement in order to stick the landing and give yourself an opportunity.
A couple of different lines to take. We saw the wide backhand hyzer and the forehand in the left gap. As we bounce back over to Katrina Allen, putting for what would have been a double bogey, and now she's looking at a triple. Oh, danger for Tatar.
What I was talking about. Oh my goodness, Charlie, I think the rope just saved her disc, but that rollaway, we're talking about angle control and these slopes, and we could see this all weekend.
That is very interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that on the course. The rope actually stops this disc from going out of bounds because it's elevated off the ground slightly. Wow.
We also heard Phil DeLone in the press conference talk about these white stakes littered all throughout the property are amazing, but we had to add the string to make sure there would be no questions. So in this situation.
There's a question. There's clearly it's in bounds, but
I think that
a very lucky break for Tatar.
World champ luck.
That's right.
And an approach here for Anniken. She might be giving this a run just due to the way her disc will fade out of the air, being a left-handed player. A little timid, but still landing safely. That disc thought about rolling.
Evelina laying up as well. So Jessica Weiss still has a chance to get a birdie.
So I'm safe, but do you want, like, you should confirm. Yeah. Yeah.
So Kristen checking in with her card, making sure everyone understands she's safe, and checking in to see that it is her turn next or Jessica. So it'll be Kristen up first.
For the par save.
And just low of her mark, landing just underneath the basket. Kristen will card another bogey. And now, finally, Jessica Weiss's birdie bid. Again, this is a drastic drop-off. Jessica has a very unique style of Anheuser putt. She might be giving this a run. And that she did, but here is the danger everyone faces. See Kristen quickly moving out of the way, as she would not want to take a penalty stroke for obstructing Jessica's disc rolling out of the way. Jessica stays safe, and she's just outside of circle 1. You have to commit if you're going to run at these baskets. Otherwise, you've got to be looking at a placement on the ground and aiming for it, because rollaways are real and they will happen.
So back up the hill for Weiss.
Almost getting it to land on top of the cage and fall in, but just staying out. Jessica Weiss will be carding a bogey.
So Anniken in for another par. And given the trials and tribulations other players have gone through, that's a solid place to be through 3. Bogeys for Tatar and Weiss. Here's Lina on 7 for the birdie. Trying to make it 3 in a row.
And a beautiful attempt. She's just underneath the basket to card another par.
To 5. Henna Blomroos.
Similar feels to this tee shot as hole 4, but much wider gap to get out of.
Just outside circle 1 for Blomroos. And let's send it down to Nate Perkins. Nate, tell us about the weather conditions. We've seen the umbrellas out and maybe now going away. How are things out there on the course?
Yeah, Charlie, the rain has stopped. It's starting to warm up. I don't think we'll see full sunlight today, but that's all right here. It's expected. And, you know, players, talking to them this week, have had a tough time finding the balance between practicing here and just going to check out some of the beautiful sights. I mean, this is one of the most unique terrains in the world here in the Fjordland of Norway, and one of the best settings for disc golf I think we've all been a part of.
Well, thank you, Nate. It certainly looks difficult to stay focused on practice, given that you just want to look out at the fjords.
A moment ago, Evelina's tee shot was slightly as an understable disc, and she flipped it up a little more than she planned, but got a lucky kick back into the fairway to stay in bounds. Very difficult shot shape for the left-handed player, but she squeaks through a sneaky gap and actually might have a putt.
Very straight disc there.
The right-handed player has an advantage here because of the way the disc naturally fades. Lefties really have to play something flipping up. And Kristen finding the sneaky gap on the inside. Oh, with some crazy ground action. She's safe in the fairway and has a look at the birdie.
That's certainly the best drive we've seen from Tatar today.
And you can see Jessica Weiss, it was an early release, but where she lined herself up on the back left of the tee box may have been too drastically on the left-hand side. She might be fixing that mark tomorrow for her run-up. Oh, and no connection with the basket for Henna, but she stays in bounds.
Back with Lina, currently your solo leader at 3 under par. Teeing off on hole 8, bogey free so far. Back to 5, Blomroos putting for par. Just a touch low, and players struggling a bit with the slope on the greens. But good to see the early aggression from Blomroos.
And not even tempted, just giving it an upshot. Evelina is outside of the bullseye.
Nice sized gallery out here on day 1.
And to me, that is so impressive. If you guys haven't already, take a look at your, Google Maps or some sort of a map that you have, and look at where we are in the world, where we're actually playing. It's such a remote and beautiful location, but it's not the easiest place to get to. So seeing this gallery is just pumping me up here for the broadcast, and it's going to grow throughout the weekend. Just taking specific measurements, making sure foot placement is legal. That was a difficult shot to pull off because that tree was in her swing. She had to give it a short arm, little kind of a spin putt, and she's just outside of the bullseye. That was a great shot with a high level of difficulty. And Kristen takes no time to make her layup decision. She is also in the bullseye. And this may be decision time for Anniken. She's the furthest up the fairway and the only one with the birdie opportunity.
For her first birdie of the day.
Oh, I thought that was in, Charlie.
So did she.
Yep.
Almost started to walk it in, and just off the band. The bottom quarter inch of the band, perhaps.
That may have even taken a little bit of plastic off of her disc.
Weiss for par.
No trouble.
Tap-ins all around here for the feature card today. Salonen stays at even par. And everybody taps in for the pars. So this is an Elite Series event this weekend. It moves up from silver status, but get ready because next week we've got the major, the European Open, presented by Discmania, will be live on the Disc Golf Network. And if you're subscribed, standard subscriber to DGN, you're going to get all of the European Open content for the first time. No extra pay-per-view. So you'll be able to check out the President's Cup, USA versus Europe. So much fun on Wednesday. All of the live coverage, Tournament Central, the feature hole broadcasts, the post-produced coverage, GK Pro skins, and more. So make sure that you get yourself a subscription today. There are also standalone event packages if you prefer that. So you cannot wait.
Outside of the World Championships, this weekend and next weekend may be the most exciting portion to view on the Disc Golf Network.
Back to 8, lining up her second shot on the par 4.
What a difficult shot and gap to hit, and she peered it. And that was just a placement shot. Remember when I was talking about some of my keys earlier? It is about angle control and placement. You have to know where on the fairway you need to get yourself in order to have a clear next shot.
Back to the 5th.
That was gorgeous. She's got that inside tree gap line, and she'll have a birdie putt.
Not an especially long hole, 84 meters, under 300 feet. Got to clear that rock wall. There's OB underneath it.
Oh, this is looking fantastic. Just outside of the bullseye for Anniken. I think some of those nerves are starting to melt off. We see some fist bumps with competitors and a lot more smiles. And Kristen Tatar is finding her mark. Matching and maybe just a few inches closer.
This is a must-get birdie for the top of the field. 3 great drives so far. Can we match? Shape looks good.
Yes, although it was a little wide. Jessica Weiss also joining her card. This is beautiful. I think we might see a star frame here.
Very possible. Everybody putting from inside the circle. And let's take a look at this drive again from Kristen Tatar. She's starting to find the rhythm off the tee. This is your patented drive of the day. Just a soft hyzer.
Nice little flip up.
And right to the pin. Sunstein LLP is your home for all your patent needs in disc golf. Check them out on the web.
Again, enjoy and check out all of this amazing scenery. We're so thankful that the Disc Golf Network and the Pro Tour has provided all the resources, the crew. We're going to show you what the beauty and the intake is like in Norway. And I mean, disc golf destinations have really become a thing over the past, I'd say, 5 to 10 years. But this one has got to be rivaling the top of the list. I know I can't wait to get there. I want to putt on that 18th green tractor.
And, you know, we see the Viking theme here. A article from Alex Williamson on UDisc points out that the course sits in an area that was once ruled by the Viking monarch King Bolung, and Viking graves can be found just a short walk from hole 14.
Excellent death cut by Evelina. Let's go. That one's getting me excited. Now, I know it wasn't that far away, but we've seen putting woes in the past, and that could have been to the out of bounds.
So there's another birdie. Very well played hole by our feature card Tatar to make it a star frame. You bet. So Tatar back to 1 over par. And let's head to hole number 6. And this has got to be the one that you think of when you think of the Ragnarok course here at Øverås.
That's right. Look at this. It's 292 feet, only 89 meters straight down. It's about 10 meters in elevation drop. We've got OB just deep of the baskets, but first you have to clear the gates of Valhalla. It is a triple Mando, so you must go through. There's a drop zone just down off the left-hand lower portion of your screen that the players will putt from if they miss the triple Mando. What a fun hole, and I would be keeping my eyes out for a man dressed in all yellow if I were you at home.
There is some OB long behind the basket, so you've got to keep it down. Let's send it down to Nate Perkins. Nate, tell us about this shot. I mean, what a place to stand up and get ready to throw on a short par 3.
Yeah, just a beautiful tee pad. And, you know, I'm standing at the front of the tee pad, and it descends about 10 meters from the tee to the green. And really the difficulty here is this fence at the end of the pad. It almost makes you not able to follow through and kind of short arm the shot. That combined with the triple Mando really bring a challenge on this hole.
And we see most players throwing a slow speed, a mid-range or a putter. And Nate called it out, that fence in front of the tee box really kind of takes away from your follow through.
Saw a gorgeous shot from Evelina, that one from Sten.
Just a little bit too much of a drastic Anheuser angle. I think she's short of the triple Mando though.
Looked like she was trying to throw something a little bit more speed and potentially stability to try to bring it back, but
it's kind of a dangerous play with this
Yeah.
much of a downhill and OB just behind the basket. Kristen's also opting for the sidearm play. Ooh, and keeps it nice and low. And you can see what the ground action will provide, but Kristen with a birdie look as well.
players just trying to throw it into the ground right at the area of the triple Mando and just let it filter it down onto the green.
Oh, and Jessica also trying to get the action off the sidearm. I believe she just made it through, and look at this ground action. Wow, for Jessica Weiss. Bit of luck mixed in with some skill.
So some birdie putts coming up for 3 of the 4 players. And we're going to make this our spicy shot of the day from Jessica Weiss.
Well, how could you not when there's a sword and an axe above your head while you're teeing off? And then this.
Just missing the Disc Golf Network sign there. Looks like it's going to push out past the rocks, but gets the friendly kick and inside the circle.
You know, Nate called it. This has to be one of the most, one of the coolest, most beautiful, but just the features of the Viking history all over this hole is just really unique and special.
That spicy shot is brought to you by the Halal Guys, who strive to delight each customer with unparalleled hospitality and mouth-watering food at great prices. To 7. This is one of the holes where you can really open up the arm. Here's Henna Blomroos.
I was getting really excited to see this tee shot. Henna with so much power. She can really place the disc farther than most people in the field. And that's way up there. There are a lot of trees to contend with. This is one of the holes where you've really got to break it down and know your landing zone and have a good plan for the second shot. Okay, so she was short of the triple Mando, but this is not easy, and she's opting for another flip-up sidearm with a slow speed disc. This is a very tricky shot, Charlie. Okay.
Just making the Mando, and then she'll worry about the putt. So a little bit of work left for Sten. We go to 8. This is for birdie from Lina.
Giving it all she's got, but she'll be in the bullseye.
She'll go on to tap in for the par. She's now tied for the lead with Ratana Meekum. Meekum about to tee off on hole 12, where the course starts to really stretch out. 6 of the last 7 holes are par 4s and 5s.
This is one of the toughest decisions. It's only the 6th hole. And you almost feel forced in this position, being a 3-time defending champion, and that's for your par putt. You're looking at death. You could tell she was struggling. If there was a cloud above her head that could read her thoughts, you know she didn't want to go for that putt, but she felt like she had to.
Salonen.
Excellent. Another birdie on the scorecard.
She moves to 2 under, now just 1 shot off the lead. Some couple close putts for Weiss and Tatar. Weiss gets back to even par. This is the shortest course on tour since the Open at Austin. But there are a lot of par 3s, so there are still some holes that require some real distance. Sten for bogey.
Solid putt for Anniken. And you know, you mentioned one of the shortest course on tour. Not to be thought of as the easiest though. Distance meaning nothing. The challenge is all provided here. The natural OB, the OB white stakes, and all this elevation.
Kristen Tatar back to even par as the feature card heads to 7.
And this is a beautiful view.
Pound's the best of the best. It's the quality, the craftsmanship, the vision for what a bag could be. Let's start from the beginning. I didn't choose Pound, I chose Levi. I trusted Levi to make the best bag possible.
He's always trying to innovate. He wants it to be perfect. And I think he's the kind of guy that nothing's ever perfect.
I trust the product, I trust the people behind the product.
At this point, I don't think anyone's disputing that it's the best made bag.
Are you sick and tired of browsing through countless online stores for your disc golf equipment only to come up empty-handed? Look no farther. At Tintin Discs, we have a vast selection with pictures of each disc so you can find the exact one you need. We offer a wide variety of top-quality brands at affordable prices, including discs, bags, accessories, and much more.
Meet Pure, the most modern disc golf bag in the universe. Join the Pure family today. Pre-sale at puredisc.net.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to the Disc Golf Network's live coverage of the PCS Open in Norway. Evelina Salonen.
Wow, that was a huge distance shot. I love the power that Evelina can apply to the drive. Tee to green, you mentioned it earlier. She's got to be one of the best in the world.
Unbelievable distance for Salonen, trying to get her third straight birdie. Tatar.
That was a crush as well. Up a little bit higher in the air, but still beats those first guardian trees and stays in bounds. And it looks like Jessica's looking to play the straighter line drive and get herself farther down the fairway. I was a little worried about this. And she goes a little too straight, finding the OB. That is a way to play this hole. That one, however, just went too far.
Caught an unlucky roll towards the OB as well as it fell out of that tree.
And this is good shape if it comes back.
It did push near the OB line on that side. Did it stay in bounds? It did not.
Bummer situation for Anniken there. Not quite enough.
Now let's take a look at this drive once again from Evelina Salonen. I mean, just spectacular form and mega power.
Every bit of her entire body and all of the speed she put into was all into that drive. It's just one of the best slow motion replays we could give you at home. Take some notes from Evelina if you're looking to add some power to your drive.
We know how good Salonen can be, and she actually has the most 1,000+ rated rounds in Europe.
That's pretty impressive. We know Paige Pierce and Katrina Allen have been over there competing many years in a row. We even have Valerie Jenkins, who's been over there over the last, I'd say, 15 years. Those are some serious competitors, so Evelina having the most is a pretty huge stat.
And keep in mind, you know, the courses in Europe for many years, the FPO players have played the same layout as MPO in many countries. And so that's made power throwers like Evelina and Henna maybe able to step up and get some more of those big 1,000+ rated type rounds. Starting to see some evolution on that front though. There's some new holes here at PCS, some changes to the FPO layouts. And we'll see that again next week at the Beast in Nokia for the European Open.
Hoping to get back on track with her third shot.
That may have gotten stuck up in that tree. So Sten, after going OB, now very short with the third shot. Let's go to 10. 3 straight pars for Heidi Leine. Sneaks through, but it's a tough birdie here on 10.
And Jessica has a distance backhand and forehand in her game, so thankfully she can use her forehand here to get back on track in the fairway. She's going to need to make up some distance. Asking for it to sit, and it does. You can see that ridge line of trees just before the OB, and she places it perfectly next to him. That was a really difficult angle for that shot as well.
To the 8th. Blumrus on the tee.
She almost weaved through all of those trees, but clipped just the very last one. She's probably going to have a step out for her second shot. And well placed for Kristen there as well. You can see that drive gave her just a no stress second placement shot. Again, players knowing the course, knowing the landing zones. And I don't know about you, Charlie, but I know I'm looking for Sigbjorn out there. Where is the yellow outfitted man?
Beautiful overhead view of hole 7. There is OB tucked all through that peninsula of trees that before it opens up to the gap with the disc on that right-hand fairway, and one of those trees has snarled Anniken's disc, so she will place her mini.
And this is a even more difficult position than what she was just throwing from out of her OB first drive. That tree line that you just mentioned, Charlie, makes it so difficult to access the green. You can barely see the basket back there past the OB stakes, past the trees. Those gaps aren't very big. This is going to be tricky.
She's got a window to the green. Nicely done. From that angle, that's about as good as you can get.
The difficulty on this hole is so high. You've got those tree gaps and then the OB water just beyond it. Got to stay clear of those trees or something like this could happen. Oh, and she stays safe just short of the OB. That was a little strike of luck for Evelina. She won't take the penalty stroke.
Had a great chance there to get the first birdie of the day on 7, but it is a tricky approach shot. Let's check in with Ratana Meekum. She was tied for the lead going into hole 12, but a couple of OB strokes bites her, and you know, we said it's the course really gets more difficult in those final 7 holes. She drops to 1 under, still in 4th place.
Yeah, the back half of the course being much more difficult with the par 5s and par 4s. Something to, you really got to play clean and get your birdies early to prepare yourself for the back half. And just a jump putt approach shot for Kristen. Wow, right underneath the basket. Picture perfect.
Let's go to 10. Ella Hansen is putting for a birdie. And she puts it in for her first of the day.
Some early struggles for Hansen, but finding her mark and carding a late birdie, hoping to score on the par 5s and 4s. A clean approach for Jessica Weiss puts her just outside of the bullseye.
Well, after such a great tee shot, disappointing approach for Salonen, so I'll just have to, well, that was more of a run than I expected, actually.
Almost landing it in, but we'll have no trouble for her par.
Back to Lina on 10, trying to put it in for birdie from distance and just missing.
She hit the band, though. That tells me the confidence continues to build. That's a good miss.
Bogey free so far is the Finn. Now the Norwegian putting for a bogey.
Almost. Monica just low of the basket, and she will just have a tap in to clean up on 7.
Jessica Weiss in for the bogey. Salonen's been impressive so far. A very comfortable par for Salonen. So Sten ends up taking the double bogey. Kristen in for the par. Now, this bridge right here, this is where Paige Pierce hurt her ankle. Nate, can you tell us about what happened exactly? And was that turf there yesterday?
Yeah, honestly, we're all just like standing around looking at this bridge. It's just so unfortunate. Paige is just such an active person. You know, when I heard she was injured, I imagined her diving off a waterfall to try and catch an ultra star, but she was just walking over the bridge 8:30 in the morning and she slipped, and no, there was no turf, and they've since put some turf there, and really unfortunate to lose, lose Paige in that manner for the weekend and probably for the rest of the year. So we're all really thinking about her and wishing her a speedy recovery.
Certainly everybody thinking about Paige today. Such a disappointing way to have to miss time. So let's check in with Henna Blomroos. Paige may be watching Henna, one of her favorite players, from home right now. Bit of a misfire there from Blomroos. Leina on 11. Still the outright leader. Got a 1-stroke lead over Salonen and Hokum. On the fairway after that tee shot.
Oh, and if she could have beat that tree, may have been the best drive we've seen on the day, but Evelina was taken down early.
There is some OB very far to the left, but Salonen's not going to find that.
And Tatar gets through the trees, makes the adjustment from what she just saw Evelina throw. And she may have a little bit of a tricky shot because she landed in the middle of the trees just off the fairway.
No birdies today here on 8. Playing as the 4th hardest hole on the course.
Jessica was looking for more flip up out of that sidearm drive, but she also hit the same tree, dropping straight down behind it.
Up ahead on 8, Blomroos throwing her 3rd shot.
Beautiful to just outside of the bullseye. Elevated pin on hole 8's basket. And a pretty low drive for Anniken there, but she catches a tree and it clips her into the fairway.
Blomroos for par on the green.
Oh no. I would say that was a little bit of a grip lock on the putt. We saw her wrist, instead of letting go when 180 degrees went to about 270 before releasing.
Wow. Here's Evelina on 11. And that was a par putt because she found the OB off the tee.
She almost saved it.
That will be her first bogey of the day. It's going to drop her into a tie for first.
And
sometimes,
Charlie, a mistake like that can shake a player, and that is what we just saw occur for Henna. She was not able to card the short comebacker. We're hoping she will be able to walk that one off on her way to the next tee.
Goodness. So struggles around the basket for Blomroos. Sten.
Oh, another one right into the ground. So 2 drives straight into the ground is going to make this hole play a lot longer for Anniken.
Some really tough gap hitting on this hole. All right, third putt for Blomroos. Oh my goodness. She will now be putting for a triple bogey.
A time to tell the brain back to basics, make eye contact with the middle of the basket, and tell yourself you can do it.
Relief at last for Blomroos. She drops to 3 over. And look at all the greens in regulation, just unfortunately struggling on the green. She already has 5 Circle 1X misses on the round. Salen in second.
And she's going for placement back into the fairway. She's got an open look from circle 2 at the basket.
Great shot through the gap for Jessica.
Was it poke and hope? That was one of those 2 gaps. Yeah.
And we heard Jessica commentate for us. This hole from the tee pad she feels is a poke and hope. These gaps are very difficult to access, and the fairway just weaves left, right, left, right. It's a very tricky hole, tricky tee shot.
So Tatar figuring out what she's going to try. Narrow gap, but certainly an opportunity to get up towards the green.
She squares an early tree, kicking her drastically right. I think she may have an obstructed view of the pin now.
She's been a little early with the forehand drives all day. We go to 9. Gannon.
Gorgeous drive by Missy Gannon. Goes deep of the basket and just outside of the bullseye. That's a birdie opportunity. Now this is, again, a very difficult shot to pull off. She's going to have to throw an understable sidearm approach, hoping to get around that little tree in front of her and then come back and fade back to the basket. Actually, she's taking the inside gap here. Oh! Clipping a tree. I can't tell if it helped or hurt her. She actually gained some speed off of that tree hit and goes deep of the basket and left.
Long par putt coming up for Sten. All right, back with Blomroos coming off the triple bogey on 8.
And Charlie, that is a way to bounce back. We need to add confidence into Henna's brain, and that's the way to do it.
It doesn't affect her on the tee. You see the same thing with Evelina. Fantastic shot. No need to putt that time. Should be an easy birdie for Blomroos. Tatar's third, inside the circle. To 11. It's a 312-foot par 3. Big tee shot here.
It favors the lefty or the sidearm tee shot, and Ella definitely has the distance to get there.
Circle one shot there for Hansen, so trying to get back-to-back birdies, get her round back on track. Here's Gannon. And she's in for a birdie. Gets her back to 3 over.
Very colorful scorecard for Gannon, and she's adding the right kind of color back to it. And just more of a putt layup approach for Jessica Weiss. And Evelina also doing the same.
What a property here in Øverås. First built as kind of just a fun backyard course without much thought in the middle 2010s, and has slowly been developed into one of the best courses in the world. PCS Open ran as a C tier for many years, before joining the tour last year as the PCS Sula Open as a silver event, and now on the Elite Series.
And that was tough with such a low hanging ceiling for Anniken. She'll just be carding her bogey from bullseye.
Tatar in for the par. Hanging around at even par. Weiss in for the par.
Oh, and the tap-in is not to find the bottom of the basket for Evelina on hole 8.
Well, Blomroos and Salonen, two of the world's best off the tee, both struggling in an area of the game that has eluded them over the last couple of years. So we now check in with Blomroos, trying to tap in this birdie, and that one is close enough to be an easy one. And so she bounces back after the triple bogey, back to 2 over, just 4 shots off the lead. And here's Ella Hansen after the fantastic tee shot, trying to get the third birdie of the day here on 11. You bet. Back to back for Ella Hansen. Still very much in the hunt. Well, why don't we just take an opportunity now to take a look at this property. I mean, just spectacular.
I love these views from our drones. You get to see these fjords just coming right out of the water. You get to see all the beautiful greenery. And hopefully with one of these flyovers, you'll get to see Sigbjorn. You might get a chance to win a disc golf bag.
And this beautiful drone shot presented by Flight Factory. Thank you for their support to cover this drone coverage all year long on the Pro Tour. And this has got to be one of the best drone shots we've seen in 2023.
I'm going to give it the best, yeah. Let's take a look up at these mountains. Direct your attention. You can see a couple of Small towns around the area, again, very remote, and 10 out of 10 on the beauty.
I would love to be there and have some smoked fish and just enjoy the scenery. Nate Perkins is down on the ground. Nate, how have you enjoyed your time so far in Norway, and what's a highlight of your trip thus far?
Well, James Conrad, Jordan, and I went down to the Geiranger Ford, and honestly, it was one of the most beautiful landscapes I had ever seen. We took the ferry across, and little did we know the ferry actually stopped running, and so we were not able to make it back to our Airbnb, which was just 20 minutes away. We had to drive 5.5 hours around the ferry, so a classic tourist mistake here in Norway.
Well, at least you got to take the scenic route, Nate. Let's go now to hole 10. Missy Gannon. She's coming off a birdie on 9.
It's only 89 meters, just under 300 feet. Got to pier a very narrow gap, thickly wooded. If you were watching the press conference, we heard Barsby talk about the natural OB, how, you know, this isn't a soft course. If you're off the fairway, you're going to need to take a stroke to get back in, and this hole very much displays that natural OB. Another beautiful tee shot for Henna. She doesn't want to putt, and that shows from her tee shots. She is absolutely parking these last 2 holes.
We go to 12. Here's the third shot for Evelina. And beautiful. She's going to have a tap-in birdie.
That was better than I was picturing any shot in my head.
You know it's good when it beats what you imagine.
Yeah. And hole 9 is another one of those that kind of eases up on the players before we're getting into the back half. It's only 266 feet long, and it's a little wider of a fairway. So hope players are probably considering this one a must-get birdie.
35% birdie rate so far. Just 266 feet.
Common collection zone off to the right-hand side, just deep or pin high. That's where Weiss finds her drive. Oh, that's what I thought. Tracking, and she hits the front of the cage. Evelina just filleting the disc off the tee pad.
So close to a picture-perfect turnover backhand ace. Anniken's shot a bit too far to left, but she's still inside the circle. Great shots from all of the players on the feature card, but you can't beat, well, you can beat it, but not by maybe another couple inches. Look at this shot from Evelina. Soft turnover. How close did this come? I mean, that would have been almost dead center, just maybe 5 inches low. And let's see what Salonen thought of it as she watched it track. She's so used to throwing it like that. That's a pretty muted reaction.
Yeah. She did what she wanted to do.
I mean, I've tried 15 shots, and my best shot is like 15 meters away.
Great look at the fairway here. to 12. Sarah Hokum currently tied for the lead. Third shot on the par 5.
Amazing shot shaping. She's hit the koozie and she is in the bullseye. She got the full flex from right to left and then finish off of that shot.
Tatar sticks it. So after a couple of early bogeys for Kristen, she has settled in nicely and is now under par for the first time today. One shot off the lead. Great, confident putt. Perfect inside circle 1 today.
And Sten connects. She's happy to card her birdie. From about the same distance, Jessica Weiss has her birdie attempt. And she is in.
So Weiss back to even. Bit of a roller coaster round for Jessica so far. Evelina Salonen almost gets the ace. She does get the birdie. She's one shot off the leaders.
The J, it's kind of like a companion disc to the Rock, not quite as overstable. So it's more point and shoot than the Rock is, but it's still got really good torque resistance and it plays really well in the wind, and you can throw it sidearm.
Michigan is a fully stocked retail disc golf store that fulfills all of your disc golf needs. We carry all of the major manufacturers, accessories, and offer player and event sponsorship, along with tournament payout assistance. To learn more about Great Lakes Disc, visit greatlakesdisc.com.
Being prepared is so much more than a mindset. It's a critical component of success in any endeavor. Whether it's a presentation or a project, or an emergency situation, the value of being prepared can never be overstated. By investing in real estate, you're opening the door for generational wealth for you and your loved ones. Contact me, Matthew Bailey, to get started today.
Back on the Disc Golf Network, live coverage continues here from Norway. Kristen Tatar now under par, teeing off on the 10th. Off the fairway after that tee shot. Jessica Weiss will be next.
And this is a really good camera view of just how narrow the gap really is. It doesn't really look that way from the tee shot, but from the basket you can just see how thin of a shot. You've got to cure that very, very narrow gap. Jessica Weiss caught up by the trees long.
Missy Gannon with a rare complete miss on a putt. Two birdies here on hole 10. Ella Hansen, Henna Blumroos. Evelina's been throwing it great. Let's see what she can do.
She puts it up a little higher than we've seen. There's a birdie attempt.
Inside the circle for Salonen.
And as she released that disc, she stood up just a little bit, which spilled her wrist angle to Anheuser and unfortunately doesn't advance far up the fairway.
Blumroos tapping in. Another birdie. So now we check in with Lina, co-leader on 13. Coming off the birdie on 12.
This needs to come back. She gets the green flag inbounds for Heyde.
To 11. Blumroos. Gorgeous. She is just slicing and dicing off the tee right now.
Well, I know. I'm taking a lesson. If you're having the putting woes, you just have to dial in your drives a little tighter until you're feeling the confidence on the green.
She's tied for the most birdies today on the course with 4.
That was a really difficult shot, but a really good turnover, and she's got herself, Anniken's got herself in position for the par.
Co-leader Sarah Hokum. It's got to go. Oh, she's going to maybe be laying up short here, so playing it safe.
Sarah's homework gives her that answer that really she doesn't need to pull out anything else. She's just playing the layup.
Trina Allen.
And that'll give her a birdie attempt from about 22 feet.
So smooth with those turnovers. Tatar, second shot.
Yeah, no real chance at the birdie here. She just went for placement. She'll tap in a par.
Birdie putt now for Allen. We just saw the tee shot. Knocks it down. That's her second birdie of the day. Gets her back to 3 over par. 6 shots back of the lead. Blumroos trying to fight back to even par. And that's a turkey. 3 straight birdies for Blumroos, erasing the triple bogey on 8.
And that is the way to answer when you've had such a struggle hole. Come back and erase those strokes. Jessica Weiss just high and right of the basket. She'll have a tap in left.
So we'll see if Sten is going to have a look here. Certainly has a window to the basket, but partially obstructed.
Yeah, it's just a window like you talked about, though. Low ceiling, high ground. Not quite able to connect. She's just off to the left of the basket, and she'll be just outside of bullseye to clean up.
Tatar puts it in for par. 2 shots back of the leaders.
Oh, and chaining out on the left-hand side, just not quite centered up enough in the basket. Evelina will have a bullseye putt for par.
Disappointing to let the birdie get away. Sten for bogey. So very colorful scorecard today for Anniken after the 4 straight pars to begin her round. So Evelina does get the par, 1 shot back of the lead. Weiss hanging around at even par. So 3 straight birdies for Henna Blomroos, now on 12, par 5, 212 meters. Just slightly too high for Blomroos. It was looking like it might be perfect, but gets caught up in the branches. Over to 13. Second shot here for your co-leader, Lina.
And that's off the fairway in the rough. She doesn't have too much distance left to access the basket.
Really difficult backswing there for Lina with the tree.
Checking out the leaderboard, with what most of us thought was a slow start for Kristen Tatar, she's actually tied for 4th with Ratana at 1 down, only 2 strokes back of the tie for first place in Sarah and Hede. Evelina just 1 back at solo 3rd place. This course provides the difficulty. I think that every 2 or 3 holes we're going to see leaderboard change-ups. On the weekend, if any female was able to keep a clean scorecard, that would be an incredible accomplishment. There's so much OB and just the rough natural OB out here. Ladies got to be dialed and have the putter hot.
No bogey-free rounds left on the course today. See if anybody can find a way to put a round together later this weekend.
Ooh, okay, she stays in the fairway. That was a pretty drastic hyzer angle, but Henna accesses the green with that shot.
Back to 11, Tatar.
And although this one looked like it came out of her hand early, Tatar has a birdie putt from circle 1. And I'm a little surprised to see that Jessica chose to go with the backhand turnover instead of the sidearm. She's well out into circle 2.
Salen goes Annie.
In great shape. She's past the basket out in circle 2.
There's an OB over there. And then we'll have to see if Evelina found it.
And a shot shape that Shapes up for Anniken, and she's going to have a birdie putt from the circle.
And I beg your pardon, that's a hazard given the yellow stakes. And it is clear that Salonen and Weiss both end up missing the hazard island, so they are going to take a stroke and they'll play it from where it lies.
And your 3-time champion at this event, the pride of Norway, another look at such a solid drive. Looking calm and collected. She's got a smile on her face. Father on the bag. She says helps calm the nerve, gives her some confidence.
Second shot for Hokum on 13. Oh, that's got to stay left, and it goes into the out of bounds. Just total misfire there from Hokum. Third shot from Lina.
Very tricky position.
Going big hyzer.
Excellent shot. She basically had to tilt that nose angle down to the ground to have such a sharp hyzer, and she performs it perfectly. She's on the green.
She'll have a look from circle 2. So you see those hazard stakes there.
Hazard is distinguished as painted yellow stakes versus the white OB stakes. The players must take their shot from where it lands in the hazard with a penalty. And it's been a little bit quiet out there. We haven't heard anybody talk about Sigbjorn. Hopefully everybody at home is still looking for him. Where is the little yellow man that will help you win a disc golf bag? Evelina unable to connect for her birdie putt. Now Sten.
Knocks it down. That time she knew it was good.
And Charlie, I think that right there got her fired up. I think Anniken is in a perfect kind of mental state right now to continue attacking.
We saw her miss high just off the band earlier. Then she missed low off the cage a moment ago and found the sweet spot that time, dead center. Tatar for birdie.
And misses the basket. She's not too far away. She'll have to card the par from the bullseye.
Weiss in for the bogey. So now Evelina, after missing the par putt from the hazard, has this for bogey, and she does limit the damage. So she drops to 1 under. Tatar in for the par. So just the one birdie. Anniken Sten with authority on the 11th.
Introducing the Mojo Riser. With multiple attachment options, the riser can elevate almost any disc golf bag. Its innovative lightweight design helps reduce stress on your back and body. Pre-order your Mojo Riser today at mojogear.com.
Meet Pure, the most modern disc golf bag in the universe. Join the Pure family today. Pre-sale at puredisc.net.
Henna Blomroos has been throwing it magnificently. Here's her third shot on the 12th.
Well placed, but she's outside of the circle. It'll give her the birdie look.
Go back to 13. This is an uphill birdie putt for Lina to take the outright lead.
Right height, but just off to the right of the basket. Her putter is on today, so to see her miss the basket was a little uncharacteristic.
Her first circle one miss of the round. So we get into the stretch of the course. That's quite a bit longer holes. First par 5 here on the 12th.
Good drive there for Anniken. She pushed the heights of the ceiling just as high as she could and stayed clean. She'll have a look at the basket.
Just a little bit too low for Tatar.
Jessica was hoping for just a slight bit more Anheuser angle to keep that disc fading and flying straight through the fairway. I love the shape of this. Way up there in the middle of the fairway. Evelina has done it again off the tee.
We'll see if Evelina can attack from there towards the green. It's an island green. Or now we go to the green here on 12. For birdie for Allen. Yes.
And there's that putting stroke that we've seen so much success from this season. Katrina is back on track.
So Lina left with this for par. Not a gimme. No problem. Lina remains at 3 under. Henna Blomroos trying to get 4 straight birdies. She's got a look here on 12.
Yes, she has done it. That looked smooth. She held her follow through, and we're at 4 birdies in a row.
And after the misery of the 4-putt triple bogey, she's now just 2 shots off the lead.
And I've got to point out how she sunk her teeth into it. She took the punishment, and then she decided that she wasn't going to have that be her reality. She's now found her putting stroke. And here's a look at the small leaderboard. A huge stack up at third place at 1 under. Holcomb just trailing Hayday by 1 at 3 down.
I think finishing under par is going to be a good result today. Lots of players very much still in the mix. More than 10 players within 5 shots of the lead right now. Let's go to the 14th. Lina, now the solo leader.
A difficult uphill par 3 where the fairway directs you from left to right. And anything off the fairway is a very difficult par to card. Talk about difficulty. Although the views might be beautiful, Jessica is having to pull out a sidearm roller right now to get out of the woods. The spectators love it. We heard a lot of claps from that shot. That was very hard to pull off. A high turnover sidearm for Tatar doesn't quite get her up to where she needs to be. She'll have a little work left to do.
Well, Nate Perkins, we saw Evelina really push down towards that landing zone. Is she going to have a look at the green from here to try to attack for a potential eagle? Well, seems like we've lost Nate for the moment. Sten just out into the landing zone.
Now take a look at this view that Evelina has. She threw the disc so far up the fairway. She actually is in a very attackable position.
Waiting for some folks to clear out of her line, but she's going to go for it.
There's so much power behind this disc. Wow. Evelina is in the circle. That was insane.
A fantastic 2-shot sequence from Evelina Salonen. She has that left for an eagle. Wow. She booms this.
And I'm going to say that disc might be traveling faster than any disc we've seen fly out of any female's hands today. That one had a move put on it by Evelina.
Salonen right now 2 shots back, so if she can convert, she will tie Lina at 3 under for the lead.
You get over and through, you're still putting for birdie, so just get it over.
And talking out a smart golf shot with her caddy and fiance, Double G, Jessica Weiss. Unfortunately, red flag for Weiss. For another long birdie look. And her stroke has just looked so solid all day. But she's not really messing with it. I mean, that was a tricky stance and kind of a lot going on that green. No problem there. She will tap in a par.
Blomroos on the 13th.
Another par 5 where she can unleash, displaying her power. It's pretty low out of her hands.
That's got to fight, and it does. Somehow gets safe.
Amazing ground action. And I want to contribute or congratulate the fact that she threw it so fast. The disc had so much reaction off the ground. It had to find its way back in bounds. She just threw it so hard.
Third shot here for Tatar. A little bit obstructed by the tree. Going to have to go to the forehand.
Perfect angle, tilted Anheuser with an overstable disc. Tatar, too much power.
Maybe just a bit too straight. And Tatar pushes it into the OB. So we could have some serious stroke swing action here on the 12th. Tatar now will be putting for 5. Evelina on the green looking at a 3.
Anakin's also going to have to work a little bit of an angle with an overstable disc to get it to turn back into the green. She keeps it nice and low. What a shot.
So smooth. Sten, gorgeous.
Solid play by Anakin. She's really breaking down all of these holes. We heard her talk in the press conference about how she wanted to attack more aggressively and clean up mistakes from prior years. These are the types of shots that are going to get her closer to those goals. Fantastic.
Perfect spot to land it on the green, skip it off the wood chips.
We saw Weiss try to go over the OB, coming up short and left. Now she's going to have to take it back from here for her 5th throw. Still tons of difficulty here.
Oh, no. And that's now going to be putting for 8 for Jessica Weiss. So Henna just clearing the OB. Now going with the very high Spike Heiser.
And sticking it tombstone into the ground at the base of that tree. And
so this is a birdie putt here for Sarah Hokum.
And I was going to say, although this is the birdie stroke, that's not necessarily any kind of a shot that you're counting to go into the basket, really just hoping to land it properly on the ground next to the basket, and she does that.
Stacked up leaderboard, nobody really getting separation.
And I'm still looking for yellow on the screen. I hope you guys in the audience and viewing out there all are looking as well. There's a disc golf bag on the line if you can spot Sigbjorn.
If you find them, you got to go to sigurbags.com and enter yourself for a chance to win. Tatar misses the putt.
We have not seen the putting as on for Kristen today as what is usual.
Lina on 15. Right in the middle. She is a bomber. Here's Weiss. This for a double bogey.
She needs to limit the damage on this par 5. Not able to connect, but we'll have a tap in for her 8.
So triple bogey for Weiss.
A completely different story over here to Evelina. This is for an eagle.
Can she convert? You
yes,
bet.
You know it. She's done it. I am so happy to see Evelina put that one in the basket only eagle and potentially on the weekend. Who knows? No one is really filleting the disc off the tee like this woman. Henna is trying to rival it, but Evelina has her putting stroke dialed in.
Brilliant eagle from Salonen. Tatar takes the bogey. She drops back to even par. Salonen takes a share of the lead with the eagle, and as well played a hole as you will see. Just a spectacular drive. Goes for the green and then sticks the putt from a distance that has been trouble for her. And Evelina Salonen is now your co-leader. One more time, let's see it again. A lot of confidence in that stroke,
Style
Zoe.
and confidence. That's what we like to see for those Evelina replay putts.
Tatar gives the fit.
The Wombat 3 pretty much goes right where you want to throw it. One of the most difficult shots to throw in disc golf is a perfectly straight shot, and the Wombat 3 does that really, really well.
Done it.
Trilogy challenge is back, y'all. You get 3 discs, the Retro Orbit Pure, Tournament Ice Orbit Warship, Fusion Ice Orbit Vandal. Are you ready to hit the course with these 3 discs?
Go check out tillchallenge.com.
How is your putter release so powerful even as far out as 50 feet? A lot of the power on my putt is generated from like a little finger pop / wrist action at the very end. Hold a disc in your hand even when you're sitting down on a couch. You can kind of just pop it up. Try to like pop the disc vertical. Do this and just slowly practice getting it higher. And you're just really trying to use your wrist, not really your arm. That's how I do it, and that's a tip to how you can do it too.
The J, it's kind of like a companion disc to the Rock, not quite as overstable. So it's more point and shoot than the Rock is, but it's still got really good torque resistance, and it plays really well in the wind, and you can throw it side on.
Your co-leader, Evelina Salonen, shredding hole 12 for the eagle, and here she is on the par 5 13th.
Another absolute bomb that lands in the center of the fairway.
One of the biggest drives we've seen on the hole today. She's going to try to really score on these par 5s. Here's Sten.
Oh, and does not beat that tree. Looks to find herself in the OB.
That's it.
And Tatar also putting a pretty serious move on the disc. Not quite as far up as Evelina, but very well placed.
A little bit of a tailwind here on 13. Get a little bit of extra distance. Weiss to the forehand.
And this is a great play if it can get down.
That's near that OB on the right side. And it doesn't look like it stayed in, but we will await the ruling. And she does get the green flag, so it must have stayed in along that line. Nice break for Weiss. To the third shot for Henna Blomroos on the 13th. It's par 5, so.
Oh, just a few more rotations, and that would be an eagle.
And that would be a drop-in birdie instead. And that is now 5 in a row for Henna Blomroos. She's 1 shot off the lead. And if you were worried that her confidence was shaken by hole 8, she has simply put it inside the bullseye on 4 of the last 5 holes and made a putt on 12.
And that shows me true grit, a true professional athlete, digging deep, biting into it, and she's answering to the challenge.
Here is Blomroos teeing off on 14. It's the last par 3 on the course, just over 350 feet.
And it's uphill, and the fairway does direct you to the right. However, that one was turned over a little too much. She's going to have some obstruction between her and the basket.
No birdies today.
Oh, and pardon me, Anniken made it safe onto the fairway. I thought her disc actually traveled farther forward into the OB, so this is only her second throw back into position in the fairway.
Father Christian there on the bag today. Great overhead look at the hole. That water, the OB tucks along that water along the right-hand side of the pond. So there is a very small gap that everyone, the gallery and the players are walking through right now that is still in bounds.
And
all OB on the left and right-hand sides.
I'm super curious to see what type of a look Jessica Weiss has. Although she stayed safe on that OB right line, barely, she may have a tree. Okay, yep. This is going to be a placement shot, and not the easiest at that. And she doesn't really like it out of her hands, but she has found her way back to the left side of the fairway.
Back to 15. Lina throwing her third shot on the par 5.
Not quite able to access circle 1 green, but she'll have a look.
Second shot for Tatar on 13.
Keeps it clean, and she's pushed to the right side of the fairway. That's going to be a look for the birdie.
Well, that's going to be a look for the eagle.
Yeah.
Sten and a nice gallery formed behind this feature card today.
Almost looks like we've collected more spectators in the gallery since earlier this morning.
Almost noon in Norway. We thank you for tuning in wherever you are in the world.
And whether it's the middle of the night watching this coverage or the middle of the day, you've got to keep your eyes out for that yellow man Sigbjorn. Way up in the air with tons of power. Evelina's second shot gets the green flag. That was pretty wide. I think she's going to have some trees obstructing for her third shot to the basket.
That nearly stayed out of bounds, but managed to cut just back inside the line. And she will have, I mean, we'll see how close she is. As relieved to get the green flag is Evelina. She could get back-to-back eagles if she has a look here.
Back-to-back eagles, just the sound of saying that. What an accomplishment. Love to see any player, male or female, take that. Monica now opting the sidearm. She's got to get through this tree gap and get herself closer to the basket for a birdie attempt. And testing the OB line, but still in the fairway. Green flag for Sten.
Impressively played so far as we go to the 14th. Katrina Allen bounces it off the cage and in.
And the putter throw in.
Another birdie for Allen. She's starting to heat up. She's back to 1 over in 7th place. Lina for birdie.
And not even messing with the attempt. A very good golf play there. We've got a little bit of wind. It is a slight mounded basket, and her scorecard is looking good. She'll take the par.
Weiss is third and squares up the tree, and that's really disappointing on a very birdieable hole. Let's go to 14. Henna Blomroos trying to make it 6 birdies in a row. Not this time. So the streak comes to an end with 5 birdies. Sarah Hokum putting for birdie on 15 to try to get back into a share of the lead. She'll have to settle for par. Let's send it back down to Nate Perkins. Nate, we've got a couple of eagle bids potentially coming up. How are the looks for Tatar and Salonen?
Yeah, it's rare, guys, that we play back par 5s, and we've got 3 birdies on this hole today, and now we have 2 eagle chances. Kristen and Evelina are both right at 15 meters, and this green being slightly uphill, it's a safe run. They're going to be looking at a slight tailwind left to right on their putts.
So some scoring opportunities for the feature card. We go to Gannon.
And she's back on her mark, carding the birdie on 14, Missy Gannon.
And as many bogeys as she's had today, she's still only 6 shots back. Lina on 16. Not an ideal shot there for Lina, who's going to end up off the fairway. Here it is for eagle, back-to-back eagle chance. Oh, and just found the tree. Might have had an opportunity to go in, Zoe.
I know, that did look pretty good. Just too far right.
Tatar for eagle.
And just barely low. Also looked right on line. She'll have to settle for a tap-in birdie.
Scoring so much better than last year so far. Good scores last year around 8, 9 over par. Salonen puts in the birdie.
And I would like to compliment a solid putt there. You know, having an eagle opportunity and being redirected to still have to make the birdie putt, that was solid.
So Salonen is now your outright leader at 4 under par. Blomroos trying to chase her down. She's at 2 down. And that was not a good tee shot, but she's lucky that it found its way back into the fairway.
And this is the last par 5. I can see her being very excited to display that distance and elite power that she has, but just too much. Had a grip lock there.
Good shape on that tee shot from Holcomb.
Breathtaking views as we take a look at this top 10 leaderboard. It's almost hard for me to focus on the numbers when I'm looking at that landscape in the background, but exciting for Evelina at 4 down, solo leader. It is putting up the fight at 3 down, and it's awesome to see Henna battling after some putting woes early, finding her putt again. She's tied with Sarah Holcomb at 3rd.
And another Norwegian in that top 10 there. Ida Emily Ness at 1 over. Tied for 7th right now. Salonen with the turnover.
Again, beautiful shape, and she's in circle 1 with an open look.
Brilliant. Only 2 birdies today here on 14. Katrina Allen, Missy Gannon. That's a nice late turn there from Tatar. She doesn't quite clear the rock, so she'll have a circle's edge putt for her birdie.
And this hole, again, shaping up nicely for Sten as it goes from left to right. A slight uphill. Oh, and an early release cuts her down, but she's in the middle of the fairway. And with an understable disc up that hill, Jessica throws a great shot. She's got a birdie look.
A couple of circle 1 looks for the featured card. Blomroos throwing her second shot. That's not going in the right direction, and she's going to go out of bounds. So after almost going out of bounds, she does go out of bounds. Lina, second shot on 16. That needs to get down, and
not quite in time.
Red flag for Lina. So perhaps an opportunity for Evelina Salonen to get some separation with Lina and Blomroos both going OB.
Great recovery shot for Sten. She's underneath the basket to card the par.
Rugged terrain here in Norway. Pine and spruce trees throughout the forest here.
And somewhere hidden in there, studying insects, is Sigbjorn. Oh, Sarah Holcomb. Drastic angle, lifted Anheuser, and she goes out of bounds.
So the players in 2nd and 3rd place all going OB. Lina, Blomroos, Holcomb. Tatar has a chance to maybe get up into 2nd place here with this birdie putt.
We haven't seen the putter as dialed in as what has been typical for not just this season, but for 2 straight seasons for Tatar. So hopefully she'll find her mark, but will not take that birdie. And Jessica got her sidearm drive all the way up here. She's just outside of the circle. Not a lot of ground to follow through if she needed that type of help with the power because of those rocks, tricky footing, but for her birdie. Almost, but just a little short for Weiss. And up just in front of her, Evelina did make it into the circle. She has a completely open look.
To extend the lead and make it 3 straight under par scores. Got it to go.
And the confidence, I have to point out, in her body language, in her posture, holding the follow through, Evelina has found her putting stroke. Awesome to see.
So that's a 27-footer for Salonen. She's 4 under par on the last 3 holes. Kristen in for the par. And for the moment, Salonen's lead is 2 strokes. But Lina is putting for bogey. Blomroos is looking at probably bogey. One more time. Salonen. Right in the heart.
It's a complete 180 from what we have seen when Evelina was over here over in the United States earlier in the season with putting woes. We're seeing powerful spin and confidence, and that's why she is separated from the field today.
Ratana Meekum, best score in the clubhouse at 1 over. Very nice round for Meekum.
And Hannah found the OB after cheating the OB on the first. She barely escaped it.
Oh, no.
No. Oh, struggles again for Hannah.
And the first time we saw her struggle, it was on the green. And now, for the first time, seeing some misfires with her throws. And wind picking up a little bit, perhaps, causing some issues for Blomroos. And she's going to be lucky to get out with a double bogey at this point. Salonen.
And as we see the third member of our broadcast there giving us the safe signal, Nate Perkins on the ground.
Clean shot from Tatar. Although this is her first Elite Series or Major in Europe since she won on tour at for the first time at the U.S. Women's Championship in 2019. Tatar has still dominated when she has played in Europe. 17 wins and 21 podiums in 22 starts.
Well placed for Sten. And that was a really difficult choice for the tee shot with a flip up distance sidearm. Jessica catches an early tree and she's cut down very early in the fairway.
So Hannah.
She needs this to be close to the basket.
It's her 6th shot, so she will be putting for double bogey. An important shot there coming up. Here's Ella Hansen putting for birdie on 16. She knocks it down, so she's back to 2 over.
And 2 more opportunities for her to get back to even. Big, huge force over shot for Weiss. And that gets her back on track.
Let's go to 16. Lina, after going OB, has this for bogey.
And a solid putt to limit the damage.
So a bit of a cold spell here for Lina, but still tied for second. 3 shots back of Salonen. Sarah Hokum also taking a bogey on 16, so she drops back to 1 under, tied for 4th. Sten getting ready to throw her second shot on 15.
And in the fairway.
Let's check in with Nate Perkins. Nate, it looks like Evelina's got some tricky footing here. Can you give us a sense of how she's going to be able to play this one?
Yeah, she has unfortunately is forced to go to a standstill just down in between these big rocks, and there's just the lightest drizzle coming down right now and somewhat of a helping tailwind, but she should just be laying this one up.
And the power that she is able to harness from a standstill is mind-blowing to me. That still traveled very far and was a really difficult stance. I mean, talk about the stability being taken away. That was all upper body right there.
Still able to make that a productive throw. Back with Lina. Second shot on 17, the par 4. See the basket there.
Beautiful. She's in position.
Great chance to get her first birdie since hole 12. Here is Blumrose putting for a double bogey on 15. And does get it to sneak in on that right side. So she falls back to even par. She's alternated between some of the best play we've seen today and some of the worst. Tatar catches a fairway tree. Just been a little bit off today.
Yeah, I couldn't help but notice that myself. Something's just not quite like the aggressive, tenacious Kristen Tatar that we've seen. It's only round 1. And, you know, she's been off on her putt, but then found her putting stroke. So I look for Kristen to find her mark on all skills.
Wow. Spectacular. Still some snow in the mountains. And these deep fjords that run all the way up inland. And we're quite far north here in Øverås, Norway for this tournament. It's quite the setting.
And And that was so low off the ground. It was a powerful shot, and I'm certain it would have been in great position. She just didn't get the height she needed on it.
Lina putting for the birdie and sticking it on 17, so she erases the bogey on 16, gets back to 3 under, 2 shots back of Evelina.
A last-minute change-up for discs for Tatar. Standstill sidearm that's just going to be a placement shot. She puts plenty of power behind it, and it gets far enough. She's outside of the circle. That was a great shot from a standstill position.
To 16, Blomroos.
A little frustration, not able to stay clean off of the last couple of drives for Henna. Anniken trying to access the green on her third throw. Ah, she needed a little more flip up.
Tree may have been helpful.
And I think that kept her in circle 2.
Third shot for Evelina.
And this is beautiful. Touching the tassel for the bullseye. She's just outside of it. That's a birdie look.
She can make it 3 straight birdies on top of the eagle on 12. Just on fire right now. One more time. Just nice slow speed disc. Straight as an arrow.
Evelina is looking more focused than I've ever seen. She's really digging in and playing it one shot at a time out here for round 1.
I want to send it down to Nate Perkins. Nate, we are up pretty far north in Øverås. How is the sunlight there in the evenings right now in the middle of summer?
Yeah, so we're at latitude 62. It is just a little bit further north than Anchorage, Alaska, to compare to somewhere back home. And the sun doesn't quite fully set. It never really gets. I would say it sets at about 1 a.m. and then it rises again at about 3:45 a.m. So pretty wild.
Very cool. A unique stop on tour here. And as the day never quite closes here in Norway, the players do have to close. And let's hear from Zoe on the keys for closing today, presented by Black Ink Discs.
We've got 3 par 5s, and they're all located on the back half, so you've got to score on those. Stay focused on your personal game plan. You cannot get shaken by what other players are doing. You've got to make the putts count. That's the only way to close at such a difficult course. It's not very far in length. It's just got teeth as far as the difficulty. And a layup for Sten. She's smiling. She's underneath the basket.
Now Tatar. just missing the birdie putt, left side.
But potentially dialing in the mark. She's grabbing chains, grabbing metal.
Weiss for the bogey. So she will drop to 5 over. She's in 12th place. Opportunity now for Evelina to keep this hot streak rolling, extend the lead back to 3. You bet. 3 birdies and an eagle in the last 4 holes.
It's been an excellent stretch for Evelina.
And perhaps most notably, she's had to make some putts, and she's done so. Tatar in for the par. And Sten will also drop in for par.
And she was cut down very early, needing to make up some distance right here. Henna gets the green flag. I was a little worried about that shot.
Lina to close it out on the hardest hole on the course here, hole 18.
And it's a par 4. That looks like it'll be a little obstructed for her second shot.
So Henna just trying to get up to the green here. And how about putting it in? Holy smokes, Henna Blomroos birdies from 80 feet.
That was so exciting and so fantastic after the 7 and some struggles, maybe almost going OB on the last shot. This is a little dust of magic for Henna and might just be the magic she needed to finish this round. Look at this. Boom, in the heart. Who needs to putt when you can just throw it in?
Fabulous from Blomroos, so really nice stuff. And let's take a look here at hole 16.
It's another one of the par 4s, 156 meters. And we've got an elevation incline. So OB lines the entire left side. Well, it lines the entire fairway, actually, and the fairway isn't that wide. We have to beat a Mando tree off to the left early. Other than that, it's really just about making sure your disc does not leak left or right. We've got a little bit of a slope sloping down from the right to the left that'll funnel you to the left side OB. So players really needed to practice this tee shot and understand which disc and what stability was going to keep them in the middle of the fairway. You've got to break this hole down and pick a landing zone to be able to approach the basket for the birdie.
Another beautiful fairway.
And a Viking ship to check out at the end.
And you took a look around the whole scene here and see if you spot anything interesting. Back to a live overhead view from our Flight Factory drone. Remember, if you spot Sigurbjorn, go to sigurbags.com, a chance to win a free bag.
Guess what my dinner was?
And a slight slip on the tee pad. And I was afraid of this. She did not get the flip up on that disc because her back foot slipped out behind her. Evelina is out of bounds. On the other hand, Kristen, in dominant fashion, puts it up the fairway. She's just off to the right-hand side, but placed nicely to approach.
Sten.
somewhere in the ballpark of where Kristen's disc is. Sten also is safe. And as long as this gets down, it was a little too high. I was going to say it could have been the best of the bunch, but it was just a little too high for Jessica. She also finds OB left.
So some adversity for a couple players, including Evelina Salonen, who hasn't made a mistake in 4 holes. So we go back to 18. Lina trying to close out a strong round.
And Charlie, she's so far right, pinned behind these trees. This is just a placement shot to get around the corner. And a sidearm or a backhand is a difficult shot to pull off from here.
So just going up and over. So after a monster throw in for Henna Blomroos to get her back under par, she's teeing off here on 17. Four birdies today. Didn't quite get out of into the open space there.
Okay, so some obstruction from where Sten's disc landed on the fairway, which is going to make this shot even harder. And remember, this is such a narrow fairway that adding a difficult stance to the already tricky shot, we'll see how Sten can answer. I like the looks of this.
Buzzing the basket, but
Oh,
unfortunately,
no.
that also means that she slides it out of bounds. She will have a short putt back from there.
What was almost another glorious moment like we saw just a few moments ago for Henna turns into a little bit of disaster for Sten.
Second shot for Tatar.
Early released, needs to get down. And she lands safely outside of the circle.
Scary putt coming up, and once again, the miscue with the forehand. Blomroos got caught up on that right side. Second shot now on 17, and
You don't see Henna throwing a lot of sidearms, and that one didn't have enough height to really advance very far up the fairway. Now, take a look at the placement that Evelina has given herself. She's probably less than 1 foot from OB. Can take it anywhere within the meter, and she needed the arm swinging room. And she's got a putt. That's about 28-foot putt to come back for the par.
Salonen leading Lina by 3. We just saw her pitch out and around the corner. Now third shot into the elevated basket up on top of a tractor here on hole 18. Right around where Alan is.
Good shot. Shouldn't be too much work left. And I want to correct myself. Earlier I said Evelina would have a chance for par. This will actually be to card the bogey. And just some lackluster on the putting green for Tatar in this round 1 PCS event.
It looks like you shoot. I can go.
view of Weiss lining up the par putt.
And it's left just a little short, not quite enough to card the par for Jessica Weiss.
Salonen for the par save. Not this time. So she misses it left. She's going to take her first bogey since hole 11.
And that's really the first putt we have seen her miss since early in the round. She's been pretty strong on the putter.
Sten for her par save after sliding OB deep. She puts it in. She remains at 1 over in a big log jam in 6th place. Kristen saves the par. Just 4 birdies today for Tatar. Quiet round, but she's still in 3rd place. Salonen in for the bogey. She has a 2-shot lead over Evelina. To 17. Lucky Lorenzen. Bang.
A big circle 2 putt.
Take another look. Lorenzen. Little home cooking on that basket. Evelina Salonen out in front.
What's up, everybody? My name's Kevin Jones, and the brand new disc to my lineup is the Feedback. The Feedback is a stable fairway driver, so it's going to be pretty straight out of your hand and then has a nice dependent finish to the left at the end. One of the great things about the Feedback is that it's for all skill levels. I'm really excited about this new disc in my lineup. Go check it out at prodigydisc.com.
At Discraft, we don't wait to see what the future holds. We build it. The future is in your hands.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Grow Generation. Today we're in Redding, California at one of our flagship stores. Let's go check it out. We are the largest hydroponics retailer in the country with over 60 locations nationwide. At Grow Generation, we carry thousands of products, from personal home gardens all the way up to large-scale cultivation facilities. So head over to growgeneration.com where you can find the store closest to you, or order online. Use the code DGPT for 10% off your next order.
Play this course so bad.
Live coverage on the Disc Golf Network continues from the Øverås Diskgolfpark. Round 1 here at the PCS Open, presented by Innova. Clean tee shot from Kristen Tatar.
And she hits the trees and it clips her straight down. She's in the fairway but does not advance as far as she needed to.
High forehand from Salonen, ends up middle fairway. To 18. Blomroos and Salonen back on tour for the first time since late April. Both have been very impressive at moments today. Dead center for Henna.
That was a good tee shot to start off 18.
See the tricky footing here for Sten. Has to climb the hill and then go to flat.
And looks to be a little bumpy as well. Oh, and that tree stops her from being under the basket, but she's right there for the putting opportunity.
Here's Evelina throwing quickly and throwing accurately.
Taking no time at all.
That'll be a birdie tap in for Salonen.
This is looking great. Also a tap in for Tatar.
Beautiful shot from Tatar.
I thought that had a chance to go in.
The backhand has, after some early bumps, looked quite good. Back to 18, Blomroos.
Majorly difficult shot for a backhand throw. She's got to go up high. Well, she keeps it pretty low, actually. She's got so much power, Charlie.
And that nobody expected her to throw it all the way to the green. She gets the green flag, and she'll have a birdie putt from circle one. And 18 has been very tough. We've only seen 2 pars the whole day, 0 birdies. Somebody took a 10. So
18 serving up the difficulty.
Yeah, we'll see if Blomroos can be birdie number 1. She tries to claw back a stroke towards fellow Finn, Evelina Salonen.
It's 2 strokes clear of second place. Stack up at 3rd and 6th. Again, we're going to see lots of change-ups on the leaderboard all weekend long. These holes are so difficult. But these views, they are not difficult, however.
So Weiss putting for birdie here. She's struggled from this distance. Just hasn't really been able to find the angle for that Anheuser putt.
Yeah, all day long she's been very close, but not able to close the deal. Yeah, that was too low for Sten. The basket was slightly uphill from where she was standing, almost over the rim, but she will not card the birdie.
Surprising miss for Sten, who's been good around the green today. Salonen to get back to 6 under. Taps it in. So it's been a very impressive back 9. 4 under on the back right now for Salonen. Easily the best of the day. And how about a tap in birdie for Kristen Tatar as well. drop-in birdie. She gets back to 2 under. She's now in solo 3rd place. Well, there may be debates about who the GOATs are in MPO and these days in FPO, but there's no doubt about those ones, Zoe.
That's right. And we're going to see amazing scenery and wildlife all weekend long.
It's a good spot to hang out, watch a little disc golf. You think they got a ticket? Or
They might have skated through without getting their spectator passes.
So they got to put a VIP wristband on them. All right, back to 18, Missy Gannon.
And I do like the height of this one. Underneath it for a moment. A lot of ground action, but that'll give Missy Gannon a putt.
Let's take a look here at hole 18.
And I do believe this is the hardest hole on the course. If you check out the average, it's almost a full stroke over, or over a full stroke, 2 strokes over par. 194 meters. It's uphill all the way. There is a slight headwind we've heard from Nate Perkins on the ground, so big numbers can be taken on this narrow and difficult uphill fairway. You've got to beat that tree that we just passed for your first shot, or at least give yourself an open look. And then accessing this green goes from right to left around this corner. A very narrow little spine here of inbounds that we're flying over right now to the coolest, in my opinion, green in the entire world. About a 1940s Ford tractor that the basket sits elevated up on top of in the driver's seat. It's got a new paint job this year as well.
It's looking nice. Got that yellow color scheme. Tatar.
Not even questioning the tree, and she's in the middle of the fairway.
Perfect position to attack from there.
This needs to leak right. Wow. That's pretty far up the fairway.
It's been a pleasure watching Salonen throw today.
And she may be a little bit pinched off from the corner, but being left-handed, that should be a pretty comfortable approach. And Jessica trying to follow Kristen's line, but she goes a little too far right, and that tree is going to be in her way.
Back up to the green, Gannon. Looking for the first birdie of the day. Knocks it home.
Knocks it down with a turkey to finish, and she crawls back to even. A colorful and eventful scorecard for Missy Gannon on round 1.
Got to feel good about getting back to even. She's in 6th place. Blumrus with a chance to get a birdie as well. And more trouble on the green.
Just low and right for Henna. She's going to allow Kat to tap in her putt first and take a moment. And this will be for Katrina's bogey, excuse me, par stroke. And she quickly taps in her bogey. Katrina finishing her day disappointed, no doubt, at 2 over.
All right, so Blumrus now putting for the par.
And she keeps putting and pulling her hand back so immediately. There's no follow through to confirm the flight or confirm the confidence that you believe it's going to go in. Henna struggling again.
Back to the fairway. Sten.
Oh, and this is going pretty far right, but that was a placement, I believe, because she was so pinched off. Playing it for par. Sten, that was a good play.
Looks like Tatar is also going to be, well, we'll see.
You know, she has so much distance on this sidearm. I believe this is a placement, Charlie.
Playing it for par as well. We'll see. Jessica Weiss is quite pinched off, so has an opportunity to go for it if she wants to, but it's really difficult and dangerous decision.
Yeah. She's going to go ahead and opt for the golf play and put herself in better position. That was so tough. Jessica has pulled off some insanely difficult angles and positions and tough footing all throughout the round. She's struggled, but she sure is giving it a good fight.
A great look at the angles into that green. You can see those trees on the left side guarding that forehand entrance. Evelina has a hyzer. Footing a little bit tricky.
She's trying to avoid that rock in the ground.
Giving herself one more step. This is very low. And did that tick back safe? It sure did. That is very fortunate for Salonen. That throw way off the mark and
very low. I'm glad it wasn't high enough to go over the Innova banner. Kept her safe inbounds.
weather has held up so far today. Hope you'll join us for the MPO round later this afternoon. Coverage of the MPO round begins at 3:30 p.m. in Norway. That's 6 hours ahead of Eastern time in the U.S.
And a nice, easy approach to the green for Sten. She's got to look for her par.
When you're approaching on this green, do you just try to throw it into the tractor?
I think that's a really good play. Unless you are absolutely running the basket with confidence, that's the best idea.
Weiss.
And you called it.
Here it is. Playing catch with the tractor. Tatar will go to the forehand.
Oh, and the OB stake actually kicks her inbounds. That was a very low release. And a pretty tough shot for a little sidearm approach with those trees there. I can understand why she had to keep it low with the trees on the left-hand side. She's going to have to make a pretty big putt to save the par.
Hard to imagine Tatar trying to run it in this spot in round one. Certainly capable of making it, but a lot of danger there. And clearly Salonen is going to make the smart move and just lay up.
I think we're going to see Kristen give this a full-on bid. just outside of the circle.
Wow, brilliant.
She
why
finishes
why
strong.
would I doubt Kristen Tatar?
Well, Charlie, it's reasonable that after today's putting, but now there it is, the fist pump we've been looking for from this woman. She closes the deal with a par.
Card mates impressed, as they should be, and that saves the par for Tatar. And she gets to 2 under on the day. Sten for her par.
And she's also able to find the bottom of the basket.
Tough day for Jessica Weiss, but she does close it out with a par here on 18. Tied for 12th. But Evelina Salonen has been the story here on day 1 at the PCS Open as she puts in the par and closes out a 6 under day. Had a brilliant run in the back 9. And made quite a few putts today, Zoe.
Yeah, I'd say some of the best putting we've seen for at least 4 years on the tour for Evelina. And it's got to feel good. She made some short and some very long putts.
But certainly the story was her ability off the tee and in the fairways. Just some remarkable shot making and big power on display, especially in the back 9. Take a look at some of the highlights. So many things we could take a look at. How about almost throwing in the ace? And then what an eagle this was on 12.
Yeah.
After the tee shot to the corner.
That shot right there, that gave me a boost right here in the booth.
And you wondered, is she going to convert and knock down the putt on 12? Of course she does. And then knocks down another one from 25, 30 feet on 14. Keeps it rolling on 15. And that was a 5 under par stretch through 4 holes that opened up some separation and gives her a 3-shot lead heading into tomorrow. Evelina in second and Tatar sitting 4 back in third. We welcome you back inside our broadcast booth here in Helsinki. We're at the Pulsea Studios. Charlie Eisenhood alongside Zoe Andyke. Zoe, really fun, diverse disc golf today. What stood out to you on day 1?
Well, just the fact that this is one of the shortest courses on the tour and one of the most difficult. I love the challenge that PCS is providing. I love the scenics, and I love how big the field is for being in such a remote place. We're going to see some exciting action all through the weekend.
Well, we've got a little bit more on the other side, so stay with us as we get ready for the after show. Thanks for joining us here on the Disc Golf Network. We'll be right back.
Repetitive stress injuries are one of the most common reasons that disc golfers have to take time off from playing the sport they love. With the average disc golf bag weighing up to 25 pounds, this can add up to over 2,000 pounds of accumulated stress on your body during a single round. A cart gives you the ability to bring what you need on the course without the repetitive heavy lifting. This reduces the number of stress points you experience during a round, keeping you at your best.
Check out the whole lineup at ClashDisc.com.
One of my favorite memories growing up was a trip I took with my dad to Hawaii. We just got done with a round of disc golf and decided to listen to the Grateful Dead. Without saying anything, we both knew we needed to dance, and that's exactly what we did. Sometimes you just need to stop and enjoy the music.
Millennium's Quantum Vela is a Speed 7 fairway driver. It's great for hyzers out of the box and seasons into a straight disc. Play smart, keep it simple, throw Millennium. Get yours at golfdisc.com.
Welcome back to the Disc Golf Network. PCS Open After Show coming your way now. Evelina Salonen out in front after round 1 of 3 here at the Øverås Diskgolfpark in Norway. Lots of interesting stories, and I think we should start with this. We've got 3 Europeans up at the top, Zoe, in Salonen, Leina, and Tatar. I think feels like we saw maybe some of the best from Leina today, and very strong performance from Salonen. Tatar, not quite as dialed as we're used to, and yet there she is still in third.
Yeah, that's the first thing I wanted to point out. Tatar, maybe not having her best performance, but she's still on the podium at this moment. 3 Europeans when we have more Americans than we've ever had over here at this event. This is very exciting. It shows off the deep talent in our field right now. And I want to point out my biggest takeaways on the day. We watched Evelina really focus in. Her focus was so laser sharp, you could tell that's why she's 3 strokes separated from the entire field. We have an unfocused Tatar, who again is still doing great, a very focused Heidi, and we have some Americans trying to chase them down, but who is going to be focused on exactly what they're doing, what their practice plan was, and confident about it. That's what we saw out of Evelina.
Well, I want to ask you, and I think there's multiple potential right answers to this question. Who impressed you the most today? Obviously, Evelina's out in front. Easy answer there potentially, but we saw some really good shot making from Hannah Blomroos, from Leina. Who do you feel like set themselves up in a way that you think they're going to come out tomorrow and can keep it going?
Well, I've got 2 answers here.
Okay.
I want to say that Sten.
Okay.
We heard in her interview that she wants to play better than she's ever played, clean up on these mistakes. What she's done before wasn't good enough. And I want to say that she is stepping up to her own challenge. We also see Heidi doing some amazing work out there. She's been hanging out in Europe for a long time. She's got all the skills. She's got tons of distance. And today her putter is dialed. So to me, not the 2 that you might have thought I was going to talk about. I think Sten and Heidi are putting up a pretty good battle.
All right. Well, Lena in second place right now. And with the putting variance that we see from Evelina, it is certainly not any kind of foregone conclusion right now, even though she does have the 3-shot lead. All right, it's time to take a look at our OTB shot of the day. Let's roll it.
It's got to be the ace run by Evelina.
That's a good guess. I think it could be the eagle. I got it.
My only other guess.
Second shot from Evelina after a great tee shot, by the way. We haven't seen the tee shot because this shot was so impressive, but as good as it gets right there. And the lone eagle on the course today, knocking it down. And, you know, we know that she can get those 2 big drives, but can she convert on the green this time? You bet. So Salonen with the eagle for the OTB shot of the day. Well, look at the 18th green as we get you ready for later today. The MPO will tee off at 3:30 p.m. Central European time. That's 6 hours ahead of Eastern time, so 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific. If you're watching in the U.S., it'll be live here on the Disc Golf Network. And we'll be back with you tomorrow morning. Me and Zoe will join you for the FPO coverage starting at 3:30 a.m. Eastern time, 12:30 a.m. Pacific. For Zoe Andyke, I'm Charlie Eisenhood signing off for round number 1 here at the PCS Open. Evelina Salonen out in front by 3 strokes. We'll see you tomorrow.